Hi, I'm Pete Andresen with Andresen and Associates, and what did we just see this last week? A lot, and it's worth discussing. Right now, I'm reading this. I'm reading The Forgotten Depression, 1921, The Crash That Cured Itself. The thing that's interesting about that book is that it actually deals with deep study about a period of time where there was big inflation, a pandemic that killed millions of people, followed by a economic downturn after the Federal Reserve raised interest rates. And interestingly enough, the federal government did nothing and it healed itself so quickly that it's forgotten with no intervention. And that was in 1921. The similarities are extreme right now. And as you've probably guessed, sometimes government intervention helps and sometimes it doesn't. But that's what I'm looking at. Right now, we're experiencing the worst year for a 60% bond, 40% bond, 60% stock, 40% bond portfolio, that so-called classic balance. The only 2 years there since 1926 that have been worse were 1931, the big hit in the Great Depression, and which wasn't that bad if you were 60-40, and 1974 when inflation was ripping everything to shreds. This inflation, I know it doesn't sound like it, I keep saying it, it's relatively mild. 1921 featured 1922, the election which brought the Republicans into power. So they had regime change, just like I've been saying, inflation almost always. I can't find a time when it doesn't, but I'll say almost always, features regime change. It features an eventual recession, which seems to be happening now. But what happened this week? Because that's big. Stock market went way up, and that's because people got it into their heads that the Fed is going to blink and not raise interest rates so much. Then when they became convinced, especially with today's employment report, which came in strong, that the Fed's not going to blink after all, in other words, it was a big guess, the stock market fell back down. So that's what that loop-de-loop looks like. And my feeling, having gone through bear markets since 1987, is that this is not going to change until existential despair creeps over the investment community. When they finally figure out that the Fed's not gonna blink, that's when the stock market will do its final slump down and we'll keep buying, because right now we're starting to see bargains. It's not, run across the street bargains, but we're getting there. Anyway, we will get through this. What I'm seeing is that this kind of needed to happen. It's unpleasant. So is a colonoscopy, but we still do them, right? Anyway, enjoy your weekend. We'll get through this, and bargains are out there. We're buying. I know it's hard. Watch something other than the news, and blessings.